Hello everyone, welcome back to my YouTube channel. Today we will understand the basics of agreements and contracts in India along with the essential elements required to form a valid contract. So let's begin. So every day we make promises, but not every promise is a contract, right? So to understand when an agreement becomes legally enforceable, let us begin with the basics of Indian Contract Act. Let's understand this concept through an example. Example is, if I promise to buy your phone tomorrow for 10,000 rupees, can you take me to court if I refuse? So the simple answer is no. But why? Because not every promise is a contract, right? Only those agreements that are enforceable by law are contracts. So, any social agreements, any moral promises, we cannot treat them as contracts, right? The essentials to form a valid contract. So, first essential is intention to create a legal relationship. So, for an agreement to become a contract, the parties must intend to create a legal relationship. This is the reason why social or domestic agreements are not treated as contracts because there is no intention to create a legal relationship. For this, we can use an example like a a promise between friends to meet for dinner is not a contract, right? Such a promise is an agreement. But if there is an agreement that is executed between parties for a sale of a house, then that will be treated as a contract, right? Because there is an intention to create a legal relationship. Now we will understand the second essential, that is offer and acceptance. So first there should be a lawful offer by one party and a lawful acceptance by the other party, and this acceptance must be absolute and unconditional. It implies that the acceptance must not have any condition attached to it. It must be absolute, right? For this, we can use an example like, if A offers to sell his bike to B for 20,000 and B accepts the offer without any conditions as it is, he accepts the offer, so it forms a valid agreement. But if B says, like, I'll buy it for 18,000, that is not acceptance because now it becomes a counter offer. Now we will understand the third essential, that is lawful consideration. Consideration means something in return. Basically, it may be money, goods, services, or a promise to do or not to do something, and this consideration must be lawful. For an example, if A agrees to pay B rupees 50,000 for repairing his laptop, the payment here is a lawful consideration. But an agreement to pay money for committing an illegal act is void. It is void ab initio. Why? Because this is not allowed in contract law. Now, our fourth essential is there must be free consent. Consent must be free and not caused by coercion, undue influence, fraud, misrepresentation, or mistake. If the consent is not free, the contract becomes voidable. For an example, if a person signs a contract because of threats or pressure, somebody is pressuring him or her, the consent here is not free and the contract becomes voidable and contract can be cancelled. Now, our another essential is competent parties. It is one of the most important essentials to form a valid contract. Parties entering into a contract must be competent. It implies that they must be major and of sound mind and not disqualified by law. For an example, a contract entered into by a minor who is below 18 is void ab initio, like void from the beginning itself. Similarly, a person of unsound mind cannot enter into a contract because he or she will not be able to understand the terms and conditions of the contract. Then our last essential is the lawful object. Lawful object means the purpose of the contract. The purpose must be lawful. If the object or the purpose is illegal, immoral, or against the public policy, the contract becomes void. Example: an agreement for sale of legal goods is valid, but an agreement for trafficking or illegal trade is void. So, these were the essentials to form a valid contract. So, in short, we can say that agreement plus lawful consideration plus free consent plus competent parties and lawful object results in a valid contract. So, thanks for watching.